Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to today's bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's bonus, shall we? This first video that I'm going to share with you, I have tried to debunk and tried to find the source of it and cannot. Like, I've scoured the internet. And I myself believe this video to be true. I think that it is some sort of genetic creation by the powers that be. Maybe a mistake, maybe something, I don't know, but I truly believe that they created crawlers. Not just our government, the one world government, but I think the alien agenda that was working well before making a pact with the humans had created crawlers and other creatures to kind of do their bidding and protect their underground kind of labyrinths. But I think I really think this is real, and it is absolutely horrifying to look at. Daniel Cornelius Robinson disappeared June 23, 2021, near Buckeye, Arizona. The hydrogeologist Daniel Robinson was last seen by a fellow worker and pump technician, Ken Elliott, while assessing a remote drill site in the Arizona desert on June 23, 2021, around 9:15 or 9:30 a.m. It's located near Buckeye in Arizona, near Sun Valley Parkway and Cactus Road. And it was Daniel's second job of the day. Soon after, Daniel drove off into the desert and has not been seen since. His Jeep turned up around a month later, containing his belongings, including his clothes, in an area previously searched, and one of his boots was lodged under his vehicle. Investigations are ongoing to try to locate Robinson, but the family and a private investigator believe there are troubling aspects to this case. Was it suicide, foul play, or misadventure in the Arizona desert? The search for Daniel continues. Who is Daniel Robinson anyway? Daniel Robinson, 24, the youngest of 4 children, grew up in Columbia, South Carolina. He was a keen outdoorsman, musician, traveler who was always close with his family and remained in constant contact with his parents and siblings. He graduated from the College of Charleston in 2019 with a major in archaeology. He then attended a course in Tucson and soon after was offered a job by the engineering firm Matrix New World. Daniel was described as a 5'8" African-American man, weighing 165 pounds with black hair, brown eyes. Part of his right forearm and hand were missing as a result of a birth defect. The disappearance from the well site. Ken Elliott said Daniel was initially fine as they discussed the weather and the job. It was an abnormally cool day for the area, and Ken had never met Robinson before, and they were to work on a deep well. But within a short period, Robinson became distracted. Elliott said he was looking off into the desert. He had a very, very distant look in his eyes. Whenever he'd turn around again, I would look at him and look into his eyes. The first thing I thought was maybe he's on drugs or something, but his pupils were not dilated. From that standpoint, everything appeared to be normal. Then I thought it was a medical condition or something. I wasn't too sure. I kept watching him, but he just kept turning around and looking off into the desert. Then he just turned around and walked back over to his Jeep. I was assuming he was going to get something out of his vehicle. He opened the door, got in, sat down, put his seatbelt on. Then he looked at me and just waved, backed up and took off. At that point, Robinson drove off in his blue Jeep Renegade. Elliott told his co-workers by phone about what had happened, assuming that Daniel was not feeling well and would call in sick. However, no one heard from Daniel after that. He was reported missing to Buckeye Police Department that same day. Sometime later, Elliott followed Daniel's Jeep tire tracks in the rain-soaked dirt road and found that instead of going left at the T-junction to return back to Phoenix, Robinson turned right deeper into the Sonoran Desert. A search was led by the Buckeye Police Department using UTVs, cadaver dogs, searchers on foot, drones flying overhead, along with the assistance of the Phoenix Firebird helicopter and the Civil Air Patrol. While Tempe police were dispatched to check Robinson's apartment on June 24th, they did not go inside. Police did not actually enter Robinson's home until July 7th, nearly 2 weeks after he was reported missing. The Civil Air Patrol, which is comprised of volunteers who do air searches, was not contacted by police until July 7th. Family members traveled from the East Coast to Arizona to join the search, which covered an area of 70 square miles. Detectives said they obtained a ping from Daniel's phone, but were unable to track it due to the phone being off or out of range. After obtaining his call records, they learned that he has not made any calls or texts after leaving the job site. BPD detectives, along with Daniel's family, worked to obtain phone and financial information, but did not locate any information which would help in locating him. His family, friends, and co-workers said that the days prior to his disappearance, he was not like himself, but there was no indication that he wished to harm himself or leave the area. Several mine shafts were searched in the area, but there was no sign of Daniel. Finally, on July 19, 2021, almost a month after Daniel's disappearance, a rancher named Brandon Sheldon found his 2017 Jeep Renegade with the license plate NLA2CMA in a ravine. It was just 4 miles from the work site where he was last seen, but Daniel was not at the scene. The Jeep had landed on its side with significant damage. The police said the seatbelt had been worn at the time. The airbags were found deployed. One of Robinson's size 11.5 Red Wing work boot was stuck under the vehicle. Sheldon, who cattle graze on the 14,000 acres in the Buckeye area, is convinced the car had only been in the ravine that leads to the Hassayampa River a short while when he came across it, saying it was clean and my cows would have found it. Cows are inquisitive creatures, and they would have licked it. The Jeep was found in the area that it had already been searched, with police saying because of the rough terrain, the vehicle was not clearly visible to crews searching by air or foot. The vehicle contained Robinson's clothes, phone, wallet, keys, bottled water. A t-shirt, jeans turned inside out, shorts, orange work vest, boots, and 2 mismatched black socks were all located. One of the socks was Nike, the other was Adidas. The ravine was searched on the ground by foot and in the air by the Department of Public Safety Ranger helicopter, but they found no trace of Robinson. There was no blood found in the car, and there was no indication of foul play. On July 31st, a human skull was found, but further investigation proved that it was not Robinson, and its identity remains unknown. Other remains recovered during the search were determined to be animal. The family hired a private investigator around the end of July. The former police officer, Jeff McGrath, who specialized in accident investigations based on the GPS data, he discovered that the Jeep had gotten into many accidents after Daniel's disappearance, but before it fell down the ravine. Evidence from the vehicle showed that it had crashed, the airbags deployed, then drove another 11 miles, and was involved in another crash. The first collision was 4 hours after Daniel went missing, while there was also some paint transfer from the vehicle. After the first accident, it's unknown where the vehicle was taken. McGrath said that after the airbags were deployed, the ignition was turned on at least 46 more times during the extra 11 miles driven. Investigators believed that something triggered Robinson into going into the desert, where he stripped off and wandered away from his car. McGrath said the theory made no sense. If you were delirious and ripped off your clothes and wandered into the desert, you wouldn't stick one of your shoes under the car. My personal theory is that someone deliberately wrecked the vehicle out there. McGrath believes Robinson was upset about rejection of a woman and went on an all-night video game binge. A Buckeye police report states that Daniel met a woman named Caitlin while he was making deliveries for Instacart. Dropped off an order at her home, Caitlin said she and her friend were drunk, invited Robinson inside. They would later exchange numbers. Within a week, he arrived at her home unannounced and began to send her texts stating, "I cannot think about you," and "I love you." She tried to rebuff him. "Honestly, your showing up at my house unannounced made me extremely uncomfortable. I don't see us hanging out anytime soon." The next day, he turned up at her home again. "Do you hate me?" Daniel's reply. "I don't hate you, but please leave me alone," Caitlin texted back. He took 15 hours to respond with his final text to her, 18 hours after he had disappeared. F said of the events, he drove off. At that point, I think someone, not a good person, found him, or something. I can't imagine what they did with him, but I believe his vehicle was crashed a couple of times, and then its final rest was at the bottom of that ravine. McGrath found another black Nike sock 3 miles away in the desert. He cannot explain it, but it is another reason he believes there is more to the case than meets the eye. McGrath and Daniel's family believe Buckeye police did not carry out a thorough investigation into Robinson's mysterious disappearance. They pointed out that Daniel's clothes, possessions, and car were handed over to his father as soon as he arrived in Arizona from South Carolina. Robinson's brother, Roger Callie Robinson, believes police are doing what they can to find him now, but he fears it's far too late. Had they been quick about it in the beginning, we wouldn't be here 3 months later, still searching for my brother, still looking for answers. What's wrong with that article? Well, I don't know if you picked up on it, but they kept referring to Daniel as was instead of is. Media knows he is not with us anymore, if you get my drift. Now just remember that 80% of the media that we get is from big pharma, big bank, big oil, and the military machine. 80% was, not is. He kept looking off in the desert that day. Kind of nervous, if you ask me. A lot of filler in that article as well. Who gives a crap about a Nike and Adidas sock? Honestly. I mean, is that really something to ping on so heavily? And then this chick that he met up with, oh well, crap happens. I don't think that has any bearing to it. Just like the socks, it's filler. Filler to avoid the inevitable that something or someone attacked him. And I have two theories on that. The Sonoran Desert is notorious for cryptids. The lizard man, there's been spots of dogmen, there has been Sasquatch, all sorts of wild and crazy creatures have been spotted in the Sonoran. Now, one of my theories is that possibly he saw something, a dogman, a lizardman, or whatever type of creature in the distance, kind of focused on it and just took off looking to find out what the heck he was seeing. Who knows? And during this, he was, led on a wild spree through the desert, crashed a couple of times, and then was finally taken. Possibly the vehicle was ambushed by one of these creatures and he lost control. The creature then followed, yanked him out of the vehicle, and so much for Daniel. The second theory is the government's relation to this. Well, he works out in the desert all the time. Maybe, just maybe, he saw something one day, reported it to the higher-ups. You're out there by yourself, you're working, you're quite observant of what's around you, especially in a desert, because you can pretty much see as far as the eye can see. So he sees something, lets the higher-ups know. They do nothing about it, but they are a little afraid of Daniel opening his mouth, so they contact the higher-ups and the powers that be of the United States. Unfortunately, pink tutu wearing Armando Fuentes is not here to blame for this one. But someone is, I'm sure. The report is put in and they want to keep Daniel quiet. So they make it look like it's an accident. The paint transfer is another key thing that was mentioned. Maybe some, car back and forth side play, smashing into each other to push Daniel off into the ravine, get him out of the vehicle so he does not talk, and truly silence him. But those are my two theories for this case right now. He's 24 years old, or as the media wants to say, was 24, which is, that is strange to me. Very strange. It's almost like the powers that be shared this article, probably pre-wrote it, and said, put this up, this is what you are to do. With the filler, the necessary filler, the Nike socks, the girl that he delivered Instacart to. That's just, any of these cases, we always get filler unless it's written by a researcher or a search and rescue person themselves. Someone that's there on the ground, not by a newspaper newspaper reporter. Fed the story. We even typed it up for you. You put your name on it, put it in your paper, and you're good to go. Thank you very much. Here's $10,000, even more. Who knows how much they get? But he's 24. He's got a very good job working for a very creepily named company called Matrix New World. Doing well for himself at 24. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't see any kind of mental part, but who knows? Maybe he had some issues prior in life, but I don't buy it. I really believe that this is definitely, in my eyes, cryptid related. He either saw something, opened his mouth, or saw something and went looking for it and did not come back. That's just my feeling. I'm not an expert at this. I just like sharing this stuff with you guys so you guys can make your own opinions. And there you have it, folks. I do hope you all enjoyed today's bonus as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you, and I'd like to thank you all for supporting this channel. It is, after all, your support that keeps this channel growing and going, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories, judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we all deserve, and that is because of all of you, so thank you. Stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real, they are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth. God bless you all.